Hello, you wonderful people. Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel. And today I'm going to be doing a live review of the new compilation from Flex Audio Sui Generis Volume 4. Yes, very happy to be covering FFA in full after them sending release after release after release over the last couple of years or so. In a good way, and yeah, big ups to Martin who's kept that up and been persistent, because yeah, it's definitely worked. Here we are right now. You know, the moment it wasn't quite right before, but now is very much the time for FFA. And on that note, and a little by the way, if you are running a label, a more underground label if you will, and you want a compilation or album or EP covered in full, then your best bet is always going to be releasing it between Monday and Thursday. Because, you know, as we all know, the bigger stuff, you know, on the bigger labels and whatnot, that which people do want to see me cover more, that always comes out on a Friday. Well, pretty much for the most part. So, yeah, I think if you're more of an underground label, you want to see your stuff covered in full, then the first 4 days, definitely your best bet. But anyway, 15 tracks here, and I'm just going to get straight to it. And, yeah, been enjoying the FFA output generally more and more over the last couple of years or so. So I'm excited. Let's go, starting with Strzokt by Elidurp. Are you mad? Unreal! You have just witnessed a murder, because right now I am I'm deceased. I'm not sure that I've heard that powerful and statement making an opening to a compilation in ages. If the rest of it follows on in any kind of way, even if the quality was just a little bit down, like just a little bit, you know, even if a quarter of it was off, like, I'm kind of taken aback if I'm being honest, but suppose I do have to go through what I enjoyed about it. The introduction had this very tense and unnerving kind of feel to it, like bubbling under the surface kind of thing, which was good. Yeah, just made for a quite uncomfortable opening few seconds, which I think, yeah, just made you feel a bit uneasy, but in a good way, you know, kind of just getting you prepared and set up for what was to follow, which was just so fucking captivating. I mean, the production, the way it was cut, the idea itself, like the vocal samples, the flow of it and the bounce of it, and the angling and positioning of every single sound against one another. There was a load of colour in there, and I think just general excitement. Do you know what I mean? Like, all the elements here are working together so well to make something very well packaged, and, you know, not just a thing of production sounding good and it being so, you know, mind-blowing on that front, which is exactly what it is, but also the idea is good. So really do have a complete package kind of tune here. The interlude moments as well, I think, did a good job of keeping and maintaining that nervy and tense kind of feeling that we were getting. I'm kind of just lost for words when it comes to description, and I think the experience of it has kind of, yeah, blown me away a little. So remembering all the details is proving quite difficult. But I mean, bottom line, fucking brilliant. Like, what an opener. Statement making, production's amazing, ideas are good, vocal samples, the flow, the way it's cut, and just the relationship between every single sound on show here. Quite an act to follow for the rest here, the other 14, but better get to it, because otherwise I could be here just talking about this tune for fucking forever and ever. Next up we have Death Adder by Config and Dupe. Okay, here we go. Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay, bit naughty. Two tracks in, I'm done. Fucking hell! The way it's cut, the idea itself, the sounds used, the general hype of it, the mix of genres, like, it's just working, isn't it? Production really on point. I think, you know, for some people, maybe that main sound might get a bit too much over time, over its course, but for me, I'm liking it, and they keep the layout of that sound, I think, quite varied, which is very good. Whee! Oh! Oh, fucking hell. Man, killing it. Killing it. My word, what a slapper. I mean, the way they lured you in at the beginning with that cheeky house, you know, a bit funky, a bit disco-y almost, you know, kind of verging on that. And then in the build, it felt like it was going to be a bassline tune, but then, I mean, they just completely and utterly, well, for me anyway, they kind of destroyed and ruined my expectation with the most finely cut and devilishly, you know, arranged and assembled trap. And I'm just like, if the compilation keeps providing on that level, then, you know, by the end of it, I'm just going to be in the fucking grave with no hope of returning or coming back to life in any way, shape or form. Like, the production quality, the range of sounds, I think, as well, and keeping the idea quite varied over its course was just, again, so good. And once more here, like the Ellie Derp, we have, you know, not just a situation where just the production's good and it's, you know, really coming through with that, but the idea doesn't quite work. No, they're both melding both of those aspects very well here to make, you know, quite a complete package. Maybe a couple of points where that main sound maybe came off like a little bit jarring, and it didn't have quite as deep of an execution, if you get me. It came off, yeah, maybe just a bit too high pitched, perhaps. But no, I mean, aside from that, can't really think of anything else. And the good, very much, you know, shining through here, and again, making quite a statement and leaving me kind of taken aback to the point that I can't remember many more details. It was just so, like, I was so lost in it. It was that good. But yeah, fuck me. What an opening here. The first two tracks. Let's keep going. Next up, we have Wearing Buckled Loafers to the Gym by ADDL. Okay. Production across the board so far has been very, very good. Very good. Pretty mean. I mean, gets down and dirty, gritty, gravelly, grainy, just really fucking cutting deep. I mean, for me personally, it does need a bit more to the idea. Just something to kind of, you know, bring the listener back in beyond the production, which is very good. Yeah, that one, I think, in my opinion, if you're looking for something that isn't going to do all that much, but you really want to just hear a load of very good and defined production, then you're going to get that there. You know, really deep and detailed and clean as well. You know, a lot of gravelly and naturally, I think, quite grainy and bitty, like 8-bit kind of sounds, if you get me on show there. But the production really making them quite fleshed out and alive and real, quite vivid, and there was a mix, I think, of, you know, different moods in there as well. If you're looking for a particular idea, then you're not quite going to get that, I don't think. You know, nothing here to, you know, remember or hang on to, you know, nothing catchy here really. But if you want just a good exhibition of dark, devilish design and a load of good production and, you know, quite an uncomfortable and surreal feeling to it as well, then yeah, that track from ADDL will be one to get used to and love for sure. Moving on, Mechanic in Detail by Damn Nasty. Okay. Very interesting tune. Very interesting tune. I think I'm caught between enjoying the unpredictability of it and also feeling like it's not quite getting going at any point. On the one hand, it feels quite indecisive, but then on the other hand, I'm enjoying the spontaneous feel of it quite a bit. And again, the production, fucking good. Okay, out of nowhere. For me, that tune being one to appreciate more than to enjoy. And by that distinction, I mean that in terms of enjoyment, yeah, there's not much for me here, in my opinion, to get into, you know, not a consistent idea. And it doesn't have, you know, many particular moments to remember or stuff making it, I don't know, infectious or anything like that. You know, not memorable per se. But that being said, I do really appreciate the unpredictability of it, as I mentioned earlier, and just how spontaneous it feels as a kind of concept. And I think, you know, we got that quite a lot in the first drop. You know, even though we had a specific theme, you never quite knew what direction it was going to go in. And so, yeah, that was just keeping you as the listener on your toes and guessing as to what was going to happen next, which I think is good. Works in on a level of unpredictability. Further on down the track, when we got that second drop, which, you know, kind of in a way I think epitomizes my overall view on it, in that, yeah, not one that I enjoyed in and of itself. I wasn't big on the production in that moment, in that section, when I was, you know, elsewhere before. But the fact that it came out of nowhere and just did again take me back and surprise me, I think was cool and welcomed as a thing in itself. So for me here, a bit of a battle between enjoyment of the ideas themselves and the just weirdness and wackiness of it as an outlay of ideas. So yeah, that would be my thoughts on Mechanic in Detail. Next up, Clash by Coda Clef. Okay. Very nice opening indeed. Yeah, very peaceful, very soothing, very calming, and just a nice track to get at that point following the heaviness we've got so far. You know, yeah, just really, yeah, just making me feel very chilled out and in the zone, you know, kind of entranced, and hypnotized me in a way, which was good and welcomed again following all of that statement making, alarming heaviness. And yeah, a good range of sounds here again, and the production very good yet again, and just got a nice, well packaged and neat and contained feel to it, which is yeah, just lovely, delightful. Placed very well in the compilation right here. 5 in, 10 to go, but yeah, that one just very lovely. And yeah. Moving on from there, we have Sync Pulse by Jitterclick and It Lives. Okay, let's go. Snare game, strong. Have I ever felt the need to get up twice in one video? Oh, it's so good! That kind of music just fucking gets me, like, sharply cut. The angling of sounds again, just so on point. The relationship between them, and just the execution. It's just there, man. Oh my days, stop it! Stop it! Stop it! You're actually killing me out here, like, oi, 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 oh, fucking hell, man. Just so well cut. Production, sharp, clean, defined. The idea, not doing too much again, just keeping it simple with using and utilizing that main sound again and again, and refashioning it, recycling it in different ways, and the musicality as well, actually just had a bit of a charm, a bit of an enchanting feel to it, you know, kind of quite alluring, a bit of a pizzazz to it, you know. This is low key, you know. So far we're what, 6 tracks in. It's one of the best openings to a compilation that I've heard in a fair while. I will definitely say that. Just having that backdrop sitting beneath and propping it up in the perfect way, you know, providing that platform for everything to just, you know, run its course, have its say, and be as emphatic and impactful as it is, which is exactly what we get right here. The perfect example of how important percussion is in just elevating an idea, giving it power, giving it presence and all of that. And yeah, I mean, it's just, oh god, I just love the way it's cut and the execution overall. It all comes together and coheres into a powerful and, again, incisive little number. It's, I mean, the standard here is good. Then, Stradbroke Remnant by Tidal. Okay. Kind of future garagey little number right here. It's very warm, very comforting, and deep in feel, you know, letting the emotion really shine through here without, well, I mean, that is why future garage works, because the idea is quite consistent, you know, not trying to grab your attention that way, more just letting the production, yeah, have its say. A lot of variety here, actually, when I think about it, in this compilation so far. Soothing stuff. Yeah, just a lovely reflective moment here at the almost midway point, just to tone it down, and again, that thing of providing a bit of a break from the heavier stuff, and yeah, it's just a nice way of providing a moment of respite. For the most part, just your atypical future garagey kind of number, you know, deep and quite soulful in a way, and immersive and full of emotion and feeling, and almost a distinct melancholy to it. Actually, no, I would say that it definitely has that, and then the production just coming through with a really full execution, and just, you know, kind of comforting you and keeping you warm, that kind of thing. Another track here just adding to the whole variety that we have going on this compilation. So yeah, nice, soothing, comforting, good stuff. Moving on, we have Plastic Paradise, which is quite a cool name for a tune, by Dizinity, I think I'm right in saying. So yeah, let's go. Bit of a neuro-y kind of number right here, liking it. Nice little piano midsection here. Nice. The production for me not quite fleshed out enough. I think it could take another step further on that front. Make the sound even fresher and even more alarming, which I think would just unleash the idea even more, because, you know, the idea we get here is fun, funky, and, you know, groovy. Really liking the mix of influences that we get here. But yeah, just, I think that thing, you know, beyond all of that good, and also the flow and rhythm being so on point here, again, that thing of the dynamic between elements and sounds, and just having that bounciness to it, keeping it ticking along. I do think the production could have just been that bit fresher, that bit more articulate, and yeah, just a bit more refined, I suppose, to unleash the sounds and overall idea that we get here. Just that little bit more, just to make it a bit fresher, a bit more alarming, just that little bit more attention grabbing. Do you know what I mean? If Dizinity would be up for doing a VIP at some point, you know, maybe just over time when the production just gets a little bit more, a little bit shinier, just a little bit more refined, a little bit tighter, would, yeah, be up for just unleashing that in a new light, with a new sheen to it, if you will. But yeah, I mean, chilled moments as well, you know, that piano midsection, bloody brilliant. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, just something about the production needing a little bit more just to make it that bit classier, just a little bit. Overall, I think would be great for a VIP if it were to be done going forward. But yeah, Plastic Paradise, pretty good shit. Following that, we have Cloudshanties by Karmis, which I must admit I've heard a fair bit of already, because Karmis is actually someone who I've been offering feedback to, and who pledges at the top tier of the Nawtystep Patreon. So yeah, I have heard this tune in its development, you know, one version then another, and here we have the final version. So excited to finally hear it in its full form, and yeah, let's go. Yep. Yeah, I mean, just a very fun and joyous and jubilant, riddim-y kind of tune there. Yeah, just full of life and exuberant and kind of circus-like and almost pirate steppy in a way, you know? Got that very, again, just uplifting and fun vibe. Yeah, again, a very fun and jubilant and excitable and sprightly and lively riddim-y kind of number, with a bit of a circus flavour, maybe a bit pirate steppy in there as well, just giving it that jump and that bounce, which is nice as well. Always enjoyed the opening in particular, with that melody just, yeah, just feels a little bit weird, a little bit surreal almost, but I think it works in the context of the tune very well, and the way that it develops in the heaviness as well. A bit of an issue with the snare, I must admit, and I did tell him that. But, you know, end of the day, that is what he wanted to do. That was his choice for it. And that is exactly what should be the case, you know. Always that a producer, especially one who is starting out for the most part, is just, you know, getting in the habit of doing what they want, you know. There'll always be someone, or, you know, well, someone out there who's like, you know, I think that could be improved, or, you know, I wonder if you could maybe do that differently. But ultimately and fundamentally, you know, people can give you feedback, but if that is something that you want to do for your own music, then you have to run with it. And, you know, it has to sound like how you want it to sound. And that was just such a perfect example of, yeah, just giving someone a bit of guidance and a bit of advice, a bit of a third party kind of perspective on their music, but then the artist being like, no, I do want to keep that, and I think it works for the music, and that's completely fair. He's been putting out a lot recently across different labels, and very impressed and almost proud, I would say, with the way that his sound has improved quite a lot, even just this year. So yeah, Cloudshanties, Karmis, good fun. Moving on, Printer Riddim by NAWTY. Okay, let's go. Ooh yeah! Oi! Oi! Ooh yeah! Cheeky idea, gritty, down to earth, cracks on. Not like an amazing idea or out there or anything, but you know. Oi! Just got that jumpiness to it! Oi! Yeah! Oi! Oh, that's tickling me, that one. Oh, if the snare was just a little bit sharper, just a little bit cleaner, just a little bit more at the forefront, then it would be just perfection. Because everything else is just so infectious, so catchy, so bubbly, so jumpy. Here we fucking go. Oh man, no. That is good. Again there, a thing of practically everything about it I'm enjoying quite a bit. The printer theme, the vocal samples, the synths involved with that theme, and the down-to-earth, gritty, bouncy drops, and just the way it's cut. The production for the most part, maybe minus the snare, which I said could have been a bit sharper, just a little bit more refined, just to unleash the idea that, just that little bit more just to really cap it off. But I mean, the idea, the way it developed as well, and just unleashed more sounds as it went on into that final drop. And just, again, that thing of it being just so well packaged and neat and contained is just exactly what you want for that kind of music, you know, not venturing too far and distracting from the main idea and having a load of superfluous and unnecessary material just dropped in which isn't needed at all. Because here, yeah, the idea's there, it's identified and it's just run with, and there's nothing kind of, yeah, taking away from that. Hardly anything that I can find fault with, and just a riveting number once again without doing that much or going overboard. It's it's just so down and dirty and gravelly and devilish, and the flow and the bop of it and the relationship between the different sounds, it's getting me going. Then we have Hydra by Too Much. Let's go. Ooh! Oof. Fucking hell, man! The production on this compilation! Show me another compilation, please, where the production is so consistently clean and sharp and defined. As an idea, it is standard, but I mean, I don't think it's trying to do too much. It's not trying to be a statement-making kind of thing here. good contrast as well, I think, between the more forthright and full-on first half, and then this more charming, alluring, and almost Sam Gelatry or Gelatry kind of second half. Just another one here in welcoming in the final leg of the compilation that is a bit more chilled, a bit more reflective, and a bit more toned down, and that is welcomed, considering all the heaviness and the darkness that we're getting on the compilation. So yeah, not too much to remark on, just quite simple. Even, you know, even almost a hip-hoppy kind of beat. You know, predominantly a trap structure, of course, but, you know, you can imagine someone easily rapping or singing over that. And yeah, just well cut, clean, to the point, precise, sharp, and not doing too much. So just a pretty snappy little number right there. Then we have Falling by Dreer, who put out an EP on FFA at the beginning of the year. If you haven't checked it out yet, then check it out. But yeah, latest single, Falling, let's go. That sample I have heard in loads of songs by this point. That Falling one, yeah, not the biggest fan of it, I have to admit. But I mean, regardless, looking forward to hearing what comes in the heaviness here. Mean. Evil. Ooh. Oh, that little... Oh, that oozy bit in the background. Oh, yeah. I'm deep in the swamp here. Like, I can't get out. I'm feeling like I'm being overawed by nature just fucking trying to drown me. You know, it's quite creepy, isn't it? Oh yeah. The range of sounds here is a big selling point. Like loads of different synths and samples just grabbing your attention. The idea in itself was quite riveting as well, but for me it was the definition of a load of those sounds which very much carried it through. Yeah, just the detail and just very vivid feel of a load of those sounds was definitely the thing that is going to keep me going back to it. The introduction, I did like the, again, had quite a nervy, quite a tense feel to it, quite creepy almost. I think probably the creepiest of the bunch here so far. But yeah, the vocal is not one... Well, I mean, it is one that I've heard so much of by now in so many different tracks, you know. But then the heaviness, I think, you know, made me forget that quite quickly. There were a couple of points, I think, where the percussion could have maybe been a bit sharper, but then other points where the percussion was absolutely spot on and just backed up that idea perfectly. And I think overall the heaviness here having the biggest say, even though the surrounding sections I'm not massive on personally. I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Dreer's style the more I hear it, so yeah, just fucking keep it going. Okay, final few. Next up we have Conquer by Invariant? Not Invariant surely, but we'll go for Invariant. Let me die, I can find myself in hell. With the demons I will stand. On my throne will you take my hand? Let's conquer, let's be grand. Okay, kind of out of nowhere, but oh, not the drop. Doing a bit too much, I think, you know, going off in a few too many random directions. I've talked before about tracks not doing that and how much that works, and that is pretty much the exact opposite, I would say. No real standout feature for me so far here. The production feeling a little bit flat. I think some good sounds on show, a good range on that front. But the ideas, yeah, feeling a bit jumbled, a little bit messy to me. And the vocal here is not one that I'm massive on. I don't want to go overboard here with that kind of ill feeling, because you know, most of the people here on this compilation, the artists, whatever you want to call them, musicians, they're starting out, and you know, I don't want to be like, oh, you know, that was wrong, that was really bad. You know, I don't want to, you know, discourage them basically. But yeah, for me here, I think practically pretty much all elements of it, I think could have been enhanced, if you will. Overall here and throughout, didn't really ever have a point or a feeling like I was properly engaged, if you get me. Always up for people singing on their own tracks, and I imagine it was the same person who produced it. Could have not been, but I think it is here. Didn't quite fit with the instrumental from, you know, pretty much from the point it came in, for me anyway. And then, you know, we had that bit where it was the build, but I wasn't sure if it was the drop, kind of came out of nowhere, and it felt a bit maybe indecisive on that front and not quite clear as to what it was. And then the heaviness, I think, whilst the range of sounds was good and it had a bit of a wild feel to it, which I think can be interpreted and enjoyed in a specific way, yeah, to me just felt a bit random and a bit arbitrary, like it didn't have a particular idea just shining through, and was just trying to do too much basically, and bring in a few too many ideas for what it was going for. Not quite showing off a particular thing or idea, or even having a singular selling point for me, this tune. So yeah, that would be my thoughts on Conker. Penultimately, Stay by Flare. Not just Flare, but Flare. More sharp percussion. You fucking love to hear it. Some of these sounds just glistening like fucking stars in the dark night sky. You can see them above you, just shining down. And the vocal here, which I'm pretty sure is a sample, beautifully dropped in, really works. A little bit of, you know, feeling quite entranced and hypnotized almost by this music. We're at the penultimate number. I'm looking back over the compilation. A lot of different styles, and I mean, when you're talking about a label compilation, you want a bit of variety, and we get an abundance of it here, and very welcomed. I'm liking that. A good idea, I think, having another chilled number towards the end as the penultimate tune. Just another chance, I think, to reflect and look back over the compilation, and you know, the amount of heaviness we've got and the amount of variation we've got, and that tune just adds to that on the level of, yeah, you know, we've got a lot of heaviness here and it's welcomed in that regard, and also just adding to the diversity of Sui Generis Volume 4, and yeah, just embellishing that aspect of the compilation overall, which is good. And yeah, another clean-cut tune here, very dreamy and blissful, ethereal almost, I would say, and quite to the point and to itself, and not doing too much. Just having an idea, dropping the vocal in, and having them blend and meld very well. Not special ideas here or anything over the top, just knows what it's good for and runs with that. And yeah, a good mix of instrumental and vocal yet again, so good stuff. And finally today we have Did I Reach You by Sahil, I think. So yeah, final one, let's go. Another soothing, beautiful, chilling almost little number to finish off here and round off the compilation, which is quite lovely. It's just a nice way of winding it down and providing a bit of peace after the madness we've got in this compilation for the most part. Some lovely piano work there to finish off Sui Generis Volume 4, which I'm going to have to say is a great compilation. You know, I only heard it once, of course, but, you know, that's all I can do in this video, and so far, definitely one of the best I've heard in a while, and I have no qualms at all in saying that. You know, a couple of tracks here that I wasn't massive on, do have to say, but the good here is so good that that is definitely what shines through and leaves the lasting impression, if you know what I mean. And, you know, I talk quite a lot about production and percussion in particular being very important, and with several of the tracks here, it's just a perfect example of how much it can elevate a tune and just make it feel so complete and rounded and full, defined, and that is what is very much makes it fantastic, and which makes me want to hear it again and again. You know, ultimately, it's about it being good music, and without a couple of those elements, it isn't quite going to be that, and I'm not going to feel inclined or like I need to go back to it again and again. But we do get that here with quite a few of them. A load of variation, and that's even though I didn't like all of the ideas. And I think also something that does have to be mentioned as well is just the appreciation here for more low-key forms of music, which I think is great. You know, we get a lot of more toned down and reflective and melancholic stuff as well, and that creates a balance for the compilation, which I think is needed in contrast with the heavier stuff we get. And it's something that I think a lot more labels should be going for, just to make the overall listen from start to finish just that bit easier. You know, you don't want music, well, you don't want a compilation or a collection where it's just full on, you know, heavy music for 15 or so tracks, or even if it's 12 plus, you know, anything like that. Those which I'm not big on are pretty far in the minority here, and I think overall Sui Generis Volume 4 just strengthens the idea that FFA are really going places as a label. And I think, yeah, just further proof here that we have an imprint that will just keep growing and growing, and yeah, just some fucking great stuff on here. You know, not enjoying front to back, I would have to say, but I've never ever had that with a compilation, and I don't ever expect that with you know, having so many different artists on show. You're never going to get that, but bottom line, I'm enjoying it a lot. And on that note, I think my favourites here would have to come from Eliderp and Config and Dupe and Jitterclick and It Lives and Riptidal and NAWTY. But yeah, just do have to make clear here that, you know, for the most part, this compilation, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. But there we have it, my live review of the new compilation from Full Flex Audio, Sui Generis Volume 4. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. But yeah, having heard it, if you have heard it, or, you know, hearing the tracks here for the first time with me, what did you make of it, and which track of the 15 is your pick, or do you have multiple? Drop them all and your thoughts on the compilation overall in the comments down below. Beyond that, if you're enjoying the content, then subscribe if you're yet to, and hit the notification bell along the way if you want to keep updated with what's going on the channel and my social media accounts and Discord, as well as the Nawtystep Patreon page are linked below. But yeah, keep it naughty. If it's naughty, then you know, and I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace!